settle down. Take it easy. What the scallop?
I'm a Goofy Goober! You're a Goofy Goober!
You know something? I think we're gonna be just fine. But that's the next patch. What was this patch like? Let's go fight this boss. Well, at the beginning, the boss is a pushover, just like in the story. They didn't even stand a chance. Solo finale. Spreading the needle, man! Gonna die. Yeah.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
Phase 1, Phase 2 of this boss fight are basically ways to learn the boss's patterns. It's by Phase 3 where it gets difficult. It combines both of the phases together, and this is just my opinion, but I think the attack frequency goes up too, so it's more likely to hit you. However, the real question we have to ask here is, what makes this different than neural simulation? Not much, really. Don't get me wrong, the approach compared to neurosimulation and this is different. Where in neurosimulation you're trying to finish the boss as quickly as possible, here you're trying to do as much damage to the boss and survive. But I don't think that's enough to break up how similar each mode is. The reason I think they didn't do co-op for this time was because Defense Line Zero was also being run at the same time as this. So instead of having two co-op modes running at the same time, they decided to make one single player and the other one co-op. At least that's my opinion. Where am I on the rankings right now? 10%!
This guy stinks!
Speaking of Defense Line Zero, previously introduced in Skyward Blazed and continued on in Realm of Illusion, and I honestly like the version in Midnight Operation the most.
Upgrades, people! Upgrades!
Each class has a set of buffs that are only unique to them. You can buy these, like, right here, along with their passives also changing. The point being, instead of being strong from the start, you get stronger each wave. It's all the same to me, you're gonna die. They all despawn. You can also buy traps.
Don't let your kids watch it!
I'm not the only one that picked Rin, right? Does it even count? Anyways, starting with the Gatherer. They more or less run around the map. However, they do have access to parts of the map no one else does, and some enemies do pass through there, making the Gatherer more likely to participate in the battles. Or not. The Gatherer is more of a support role, and is more suited to benefit others and rather than themselves, making their buffs more centric towards gathering. Wow, I did more damage than our DPS? Get your life together! However, a Gatherer isn't necessary, and you can definitely run a game without one. And surprisingly, they have similar clear times. Then we have Attacker. Initially, you have to choose from 2 buffs to pick from every round, and have to buy the option to have 3 buffs to choose from later on. It used to be 3 just from the start. Other than that, you have seen most of these buffs before, and it makes sense considering that the idea is to have your operative do as much damage as possible. Take my damage increases. How do you like that? The attacker role has always been suited for someone that just wants to play as their operative, and in that case, it's still really fun. I beat the turret. This brings us to the turret.
I'm the guy. The real guy.
Well, not anymore.
Not this time.
They even decreased the amount of bullets you start with. They did increase the chance of you replenishing a bullet, but it's not the same. They also made the field of view of the turret a little smaller because of how much cover is around the map. You won't be able to fight every enemy on the map, unless you want to swap to the opposite turret. Don't get me wrong, the turret's still strong. Yep, we did it. It's just a slower grind. A lot of this is in due part to the progression system and how we get points now, where instead of 3 currencies, we only have 1. Overall, they made Defense Line Zero a lot more team-based, along with slowing down point accumulation to make it more difficult. This brings us to Aperture Eclipse. Overall, I feel the map's a little cramped. The challenge here has to do more with cover placement and shooting through the gaps. In week 1, we had indestructible cover on the map. By week 2, it was gone. You know something though? Who cares about cover when you have
It's morphin' time.
Easiest game of my life. Don't look at my kill streak. She doesn't even benefit from these bonuses. Though week 1, it's most likely a Gabe and Chen. And week 2, definitely Cherna. They also added the fact that you can know when you have max kill streak. I think. I'm really not sure. I'm not sure if it was added in previous updates as well, since it's really hard to tell. Hey, one of the perks of it being so cramped, you'll always kill somebody. Alright, and that's all the events covered. Okay. There's nothing that I could say about Heroes game that I have not said before. Okay, there's like one thing. They learned a new word. Other than that, basically the same game mode, and we played it for 2 weeks. And as you can see here, September 4th, September 6th, September 7th, September 12th. Can you see that they missed a day? Even during Skytopia, they mentioned Heroes game. Maybe they got sick. It is called a containment zone. I'm really throwing him under the bus. I'm sorry. It was only to prove a point that Heroes game cannot carry Snowbreak for 2 weeks. It used to be Battlefront that would do that, but they vaulted that event. They just need one more event to help carry people over. Because Heroes game cannot do that. And don't get me wrong, I find Heroes game fun for what it is, and I'm very competitive. That's right, I out DPS Chen somehow by 1%. Where I think they even acknowledge this by having a stamina event, where you need to use enough stamina within the week in order to get a name card. Or I could just be looking into it too much. Operation Midnight had a very strong start. The story I felt was very compelling, also because I'm biased towards spy stuff. Along with Defense Line Zero being very interesting to play. Aperture Eclipse had some rough patches, but overall, it was also fun to play. Along with them buffing a Gave as well. Where it starts to feel dry is when Heroes game is the only thing to carry you over for like a week or two. That's when Operation Midnight lost some of its footing. I like this patch, however, I think it needed one more event. I know this will be remedied in the next patch, but it's still something to bring up. I don't like using the word filler, because that's a cop-out. But overall, I give it a 7 out of 10. It just wasn't able to finish off strong.
That's what she said.
Also, if you couldn't tell, Goofy Goober was a metaphor for a goober.